Episode 10, The Rundown. Kyle Stackpole, I'm Gabe Henderson. And it's an honor to be joined by Pro Bowler. Tress Way. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I asked you off camera, have you pinched yourself yet?
Nope. And just like I told you off camera, I'm probably not going to pinch myself till February. At least let January ride out. And just so surreal, man. It's been so cool. The thing that has been the coolest, other than my family freaking out, my wife all excited, dude, how cool and just how juiced everybody has been for me in this building. I mean, like from you guys to my teammates, coaches, everybody's been so cool, and I'm so thankful for that. Like I always get excited when other guys get voted in the past too, but it's so cool being on this end. I'm so thankful. Man, our freaking punt team's been unbelievable. I'm working on something right now. Maybe take them all out to eat, and definitely owe them some serious dinner and grub, maybe a couple drinks after they bailed me out when I outkicked the coverage a couple times. And then old Mr. Reliable himself, Nick Sundberg, 100% of punts start with a snap. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, definitely got to treat that dude. So yeah, he obviously, in my opinion, I'm very biased, but I think he's the best in the league. So it's been a lot of fun, man.
So when did you find out? Who told you? Did you find out?
Yesterday, my wife and I, we have our third child on the way, so we had to go by the hospital and doing a ultrasound, getting everything checked out for the 20-week appointment. And so we get out into the car, and I get a New Jersey area code that kind of pops up, and I was like, well, I'm not sure who this is, but this time of year, you might as well answer everything. And so I answered, and I said, hello? And I heard, Tress, this is Coach Callahan. And my heart just started racing because I thought I was going to have to wait till freaking 8 o'clock like everybody else does and just learn right then and there. And I go, hey, Coach. And I got real nervous all of a sudden. He goes, I just want to call and let you know that you're the starting punter for the Pro Bowl for the NFC. And I was like, man, thanks, Coach. He's like, so you don't have to wait till 8 o'clock tonight. And he goes, I'm just so damn excited and proud of you. I want to call and tell you. And then Coach Nate FaceTimed me, and PK and a bunch of other people had reached out once it got around the building with the coaches here because yesterday was our day off. And then I got to call my family and tell them, I'm like, and then after we told our immediate family, I thought, man, I really hope I made it because now I'm sitting here crying and telling people. And so not that I didn't believe Coach Callahan at all, but I'm like, man, what if there was just some caveat like an alternate or something? But I figured the head ball coach would know. So, but yeah, that's when I found out yesterday afternoon about 3 or 4 hours before, and I couldn't believe it, man.
You're a big Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
You already know where this question is going.
It's going down, and I am so thankful. I got a couple of my sister-in-laws I'm really close with that we all love Harry Potter.
Yeah.
My little brother's the one that got me into it, and so we're as soon as we figure out all the details on like how family works, tickets, the whole thing. I definitely want to. Hopefully, there's a day that we can block off where we can go check that whole thing out, get a butter beer, and and walk around that place. So yeah, I'll nerd out a little bit.
Yeah, in my opinion, we talked a few weeks ago at DC Prime. In my opinion, I think you are the best punter this year. I think you're having a phenomenal season.
Thank you.
But honestly, I think last year was better.
That's what's crazy is if you take into just kind of the situations last year, us pinning teams inside the 20, I think we led in pinning teams inside the 10 or 5, something like that. We didn't have any touchbacks. We netted really well. Dude, honestly, that's just like I deliver the ball and then the guys do the rest. So when there's these fair catches that flip the field, well, we got our outside guys like Troy Apke and Danny Johnson and all these guys that we've had in the past, and Cole Holcomb flies down the field, Sean Dion, Ryan Anderson, all these guys fly down the field and cause the fair catches. And so last year, the numbers that we put up was awesome. This year, we were just able to flip the field maybe a little bit more after we've had some bigger punts of trying to really back teams up in their own end zone, or back towards their own end zone. And so it was a fun time, man. Back-to-back years has been a lot of fun, and just trying to play good. Can't control the numbers, just trying to play good and have some fun. So
yeah, for sure. And I know that each year you've tried to add something new to your game, whether how big or how small.
Yeah.
And so what was that thing that you added before this season that you think is maybe, taking you to another level?
Yeah, I would say particularly there's 2 punters in the NFL that you could say almost like kind of mimic their style. Sam Cook for the Ravens and Johnny Hecker for the Rams. They stand in the same spot pre-snap every time, so you have no idea where they're going to punt the ball, and they deliver the ball all over the field. And I tried to adopt that style where the returners didn't know where I was going. And then Brett Kern, who I believe is the best directional punter, he's actually the Pro Bowler for the AFC. And then Thomas Morstead is arguably the greatest of all time and is punting for the Saints. They're both incredible directional punters. Tom can hang it pretty good, and I know that I've got a strong leg to hang it too. So I kind of took those four guys and tried to meld into good directional punting, good hang time, and then the returner's not knowing where I'm going pre-snap. And so that's what I worked on. Coach Nate came in OTAs, and he said, hey, and I'll never forget, he said, hey, cement it. We're doing it. So right now, and it was April, he's like, right now, cement it. We're going. And that's what we worked on every day. Wow. He is so gung-ho and so loves flipping the field and doing that. And so it was cool. It was cool to see all that come to fruition. And so definitely still got things I want to work on, but that was the big one this year.
I may be misquoting you. Our previous conversation we had earlier in the season. Well, before the season started, you said last year you just stopped worrying about the numbers. You're so big on the numbers. Yeah. Was that something that you also tried to do this year, just not worry about the numbers?
Yeah, I actually, throughout the year, Nick and our special teams coach, Nate Katzer, they would just say, hey, we're tops in the league. Like, we're top 5 in net, we're top in gross, like we're flipping the field, let's keep going. But I had no idea how anybody else around the league was doing. I knew that we were number 1 at some points in the season, but I had no idea what those numbers were. Yeah. And I got that from my wife last year, which I told you in our conversation, of just trying to play good. And like, to put this in perspective for you, there was 2 punts last week against the Eagles where they are going to be short punts. We're punting from midfield, and my job as the punter is to pin other teams deep. And whenever I just go out there and focus on just trying to make a freaking good play and not caring about what my numbers are going to be, like whenever I think we only netted 40-something yards or like something on one of those pooches, but we pinned them on the 5. Like, and then instead of me like just being selfish and thinking, oh man, that's just kind of a shorter punt, whatever, I see Ioannidis and Landon Collins and all these guys really excited that, man, their offense is starting on the 5, and it's just that momentum. And so all year I did it. I'm going to do it the rest of my career. And there's going to be years that like maybe I won't be able to punt them as far, or tough conditions or whatever it may be. But as long as I'm playing well and helping the team and trying to really screw the other team and pin them deep, then that's what matters. So
do you want to hear your stats so far? Because I have them right here.
I'd rather not. I haven't looked at them all year. And as soon as the game is over and we're going and I'm going back to Oklahoma to get ready for the Pro Bowl, I promise I'll check them out. But I don't want to know. It's been fun. I know that everybody's been gung-ho, but I know that we're in the tops up there and close.
Somewhere
and
up there.
Yeah, somewhere up there is always good to hear. But, that just, it played out this year where I was able to hit those longer punts and do things like that. So it was fun.
Oh, then I want to touch on the 79-yard punt.
Yeah.
I mean, what was crazy? Longest punt this year? I mean, longest of your career, I'm assuming. I mean, what was that like? Huh?
I mean, no. So in college, I actually hit an 85. The first punt of the year. Yeah, Coach Stoop. We were playing Utah State. First punt of the year. I hit an 85-yarder my sophomore year. I came off the field, and Coach Stoops looked at me and he goes, "Tress, you can do that every time." I go, "No, I can't." Like, are you kidding me? That was 85 freaking yards, man. And so, but when that 79 took place, believe it or not, so at Bank of America Stadium with Carolina, it's a full bowl. So when you get a full bowl like that, there are times the wind is howling. There are times it's helping you, hurting you, but it will swirl. It's like FedEx, where sometimes it's tough to drop, tough to play, but if you can hit it clean, it'll help you. Well, at that point where we were punting, you're into the wind at that point. And so I'm just thinking, all right, stay short. Don't try and do too much to where it just flies off the side of your foot or you pull it out of bounds. I'm like, just take a hard line, go for the sideline, and just let it fly nice and short. And so Nick gave me a great snap. I just kind of put a short little swing on it, and it took off. Well, a guy hits me shortly after I punted. Not hard, but he just kind of ran into me. So I just kind of covered up, took the hit, and then I looked up in the air, and I just went, oh, mama. It just kept going. And so whenever I saw their returner wasn't going to catch it, I was like, oh, just roll. And then I was like, oh, stop rolling. And so it was actually one of my 3 touchbacks this year. But if you touch back on a 79-yard punt, that's not the end of the world. And so, but yeah, that was really cool. And Nick turns around, just, oh my God, how about that? And so yeah, we got all fired up about that one. That was cool this year.
Wow. I love the fact that we can have a 10-minute conversation about football and not talk about throwing, tackling, none of that.
Man. See, you get it.
Exactly.
This is it. You're in.
Right. You're a Pro Bowler, and you got another teammate That's a Pro Bowler. Yeah. Brandon Sheriff. How excited are you for him?
Yeah, Sheriff's one of my closest friends on the team, and so I'm so pumped for him. I mean, he came in, and he's just such a good, quiet, consistent leader. I mean, the dude just does things right. There is not one meeting that I've ever seen where he's not taking notes. There's never a day in the weight room that he's not pushing himself and just sweating bullets. I mean, the guy he's just freaking good, man. Like, he's just so dang talented and works so hard. Just the kind of guy that, like, you can lean on. You know, like, he's one of those dudes, if anything was ever going on, I could trust that dude. Oh, yeah. And so it's no doubt why he's a Pro Bowler year in and year out, and arguably the best guard in the league. I mean, the guy's unbelievable, so I'm pumped for him.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, I wanted to mention, so obviously you're a Pro Bowl caliber punter.
Thank you.
So if there was another thing, anything that you think you would be a Pro Bowl caliber in, what do you think it would be?
I've ever been ping pong, right?
No, I can't say ping pong.
I was going to say, I thought that might have been the go-to answer.
Yeah, I'd say ping pong, but, much like on the field with snapping and punting, Nick and I are kind of the battery there. Nick and I have actually never lost in spike ball. And when we had that team-wide tournament in OTAs, we took down Case Keenum and Trey Quinn in the championship.
Yeah, so I remember seeing that.
Yeah, Nick is the best passer I have ever seen in spike ball. And then I try and play a little defense against their best attacker. We strategize a little bit. So I'd say we're Pro Bowl caliber in that as well.
You think you could go to ESPN, the Ocho,
dude? Some of those guys, I don't know. Some of those guys, like, they can spin on their head. Yeah, they use their feet and do all. Now I could use my feet, but I've never tried it. But I'm gonna say Pro Bowl in the NFL world. If there's a Pro Bowl of spike ball, we may be in the mix to go to that as well. But playing the Ocho guys on ESPN 8, I don't know.
Well, lastly, I know Tress Way going to the Pro Bowl makes for good content. So I'm assuming we're going to mic you up. So can we get a what's your bid? Can we get you to go around, ask some of the players a few questions?
We may be able to do that. Okay. We may be able to do that. I'll see if I can come up with some good, either Orlando or Disney or Pro Bowl questions. Go. Yeah, we can do that.
Nice, man. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you guys, man.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
Official team news, full game day experience, and live Redskin games are all available on the Redskins mobile app. Download it today. Geographic and device restrictions apply. Local and primetime games only, and data charges may apply.
Did you know that your Washington Redskins are sponsored by Koch Industries? That's Koch, Koch. Their 67,000 U.S. employees make a lot of things that make game day better. Greener turf, they make that. Stronger paper products for tailgating, they make that. Oh, and electronic components in TVs and smart devices so that you can watch a Redskins victory anywhere? Yeah, Koch makes that too. See all they make for on and off the field at kochmakesthat.com.
Hey, Redskins fans, we're crowning the ultimate Hellgate champion. Redskins alumni Rick Doc Walker will be judging the best tailgate in the Safeway Red Zone lot before the Redskins take on the Giants in the last home game of 2019. Defend FedEx Field against the New York Giants on December 22nd. Learn more at redskins.com/Hellgate champion. That's redskins.com/Hellgate champion. Hail to the Redskins. We are back, episode 10 of The Rundown. I'm Gabe Henderson, joined by my friend Kyle Stackpole. Kyle, we just had Pro Bowler Tress Way. He's excited about it, huh?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, the story of how he found out about it and just every answer. I mean, like you said, off camera, he's such a good storyteller. He can make anything sound interesting. Yeah. I mean, after talking to him for 10 minutes about punting, it makes me kind of just want to, put everything else aside and just follow what he's able to do.
Right.
But it's really exciting for him. It's exciting for Brandon Sheriff, the other Pro Bowler, and then we have two alternates. Yeah. And
I think Landon Collins is in. I think he'll get in.
He probably will be. I mean, you assume that between the Super Bowl and someone getting hurt or just playoffs in general, that someone would back out. Right. And with him being the first alternate, it would make sense for him to get in there. And then you have Matt Ioannidis, who's the fourth alternate, but still, first time he's gotten that recognition. So, 4 in total, 2 that made it, 2 alternates. What can you say about these guys?
It shows their hard work. It shows what they've done all year. I mean, Tress Way said, Brandon Sheriff just does everything right. He's such a blue-collar guy. He does what he's supposed to do. And Matt Ioannidis is the same way. He's just now getting recognition. I personally think if Matt Ioannidis was – let's say if the Redskins had won 8 games this year, right, I think Matt Ioannidis would be a starter and for a Pro Bowl team. What, 8.5 sacks, something like that?
8.5 sacks already, yep.
He's killing it. Same thing with Landon Collins. He's got over 100 tackles. It's a difference between winning and losing. They are getting that notoriety, but at the same time, these guys have played hard all year. I told Tress Way earlier, I think last year he should have been a Pro Bowl punter. Last year was better. His stats-wise was better than this year.
I think it was 41 punts down inside of 20 without a touchback.
With no touchbacks.
Insane.
No touchbacks. So it'll be exciting. I'm excited for all these players. I hope they get in. I hate to see guys get injured, but maybe what is it? The Ravens have? Well, they're AFC team, but the Saints have. Maybe it's the Ravens-Saints Super Bowl this year.
Exactly. Then you got half of the players that are going to be out.
Exactly. So that will help the case a lot. But what stands out to you about this group from the Pro Bowl? That Pro Bowl alternatives and selections that we got this year.
For sure. So, I just wanted to give some stats, some context for what these guys have accomplished. I wanted to tell Tress's stats, but he said he's not focused on them, so he didn't want to hear them. But I'm going to say them now. So, he's first in punt average, tied for second net punt average, second in total yards, and fourth in total net yards. And then he's got 26 punts inside the 20 and 3 touchbacks. Yep. So between last season and this season, those are just crazy numbers, phenomenal numbers. He was more than deserving of not only making the Pro Bowl, but also being the starter. So congrats again to him. Brandon Sheriff, not as many stats, obviously, for the offensive line, but he made his third Pro Bowl in 4 years. He's been a force on the offensive line since the Redskins drafted him 5th overall. So just another guy that's been a staple of that line, has really helped out the running game. And then Landon, like you said, he's got over 100 tackles, leads the team, and he's tied among defensive backs. He's second in tackles for loss behind Jamal Adams. So this is a guy that is elite at stopping the run. He can come up and play like a linebacker. Yep. He can defend tight ends in coverage. And then
all around good safety.
Exactly. And then we mentioned a lot about Matt Ioannidis, but he's a great pass rusher, 8.5 sacks, run stopper too. He leads the team with 10 tackles for loss. And you're right, he's just a guy that if he had a little more name recognition, or if the Redskins had done a little bit better, then he would be getting more notoriety. Right. But I think he's someone, the Redskins just extended him this offseason. He's been, I feel like the past 2 years, he's really made some big jumps. So I would say next year, he's really a guy to look for to be in that Pro Bowl, not just an alternate.
I talked to Matt earlier this week, and he basically said after the season, he said he's going to, not work as hard in January, but he said February 1st, he's starting back, full grind. And that's what he did this past season. So I feel like that's a testament to why he has had such the year that he's had. And he's seen that success. That's the thing about this process, because we all go through a process, right? Life is a process. When you go through a process and then you see results based off of your hard work, it's like, hey, I need to do this again, and I know what I did wrong, and I know what I need to do to get better. So I feel like Matt, he is like the ultimate story of this of the team this year, a guy that you never really heard anything about, to go and get recognition as a Pro Bowler. He's not in, but I feel like next year, that's a full story in itself. If next year he has a similar season, he's already on the NFL, or he's already on the map now of a guy that's made plays. So it's just a matter of time with Matt. He's finally coming into his own, and I'm excited. I think these last 2 games he's going to show out and prove to the NFL voters that, like, hey, you should have chose me to be a Pro Bowl. Same thing with Landon Collins. Landon Collins is playing the New York Giants this week, so that's
he's
more implications.
Yep, so motivated. One more thing about Matt, he's a 5th-round pick, and he's playing on a defensive line with 4 first-round picks.
Right.
And so, but out of those 5 guys, he's the guy who's been performing the best. So it's been really cool to see his emergence. Just the guys who didn't make the Pro Bowl from the Redskins. Do you think there was any snubs, anyone who deserved more consideration, maybe people that, next year you're really looking towards as this guy could be another guy that joins that group?
I think Quentin Dunbar. I think he's probably the biggest. I think he should have at least been a reserve. Agreed. The guy has played phenomenal. 4 interceptions. Career high in tackles. The guy's been playing out of his mind, and for him not to be mentioned, it was a big surprise for me. I'm trying to think of anybody else. People can say, I know Morgan Moses is probably upset, because Morgan Moses, he hasn't had his best season, but he's a legit right tackle. He's a top tier right tackle in the NFL. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, those are probably the two guys. You would want to see AP in there, but just stats-wise, Chris Thompson said it too, AP, just based off of his stats. His stats don't show how good he's played this year and how valuable he's been for the Washington Redskins this season. What about you?
I agree with you for sure on Quentin Dunbar. The Pro Football Focus just came out with their Pro Bowl team today, and Quentin Dunbar made that. And he's still the highest graded cornerback in the entire league. So, there's obviously a lot more that goes into it than maybe PFF looks at, but still.
Yeah.
Tops in the league. He should at least be an alternate. And the other guy would be Terry McLaurin. And I know he's only a rookie, and he's dealt with all these different quarterbacks and the results, but he's a guy that, 833 yards, 2 games left to play. He's another guy, if there was just a little more consistency at quarterback, a little more winning, because the numbers are pretty phenomenal.
Right.
So he's really another guy that next year, with the offense having, more stable parts with Dwayne under center, he's a guy who can make an even bigger jump and who knows, try to get himself into that Pro Bowl consideration.
Yeah, I don't think Terry is as big of a snub, though.
Oh, I don't think he's a snub.
You got Julio Jones, Mike Thomas, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Like that's a pretty elite. I'm not saying Terry's not elite. I know. I think I know what you're saying. He probably should have got more recognition, but at the same time, he's had a phenomenal rookie year. What's been your biggest takeaway from Terry McLaurin's rookie season?
It's really it's just everything. He's got 7 touchdowns. I think the biggest thing was aside from the speed. So we knew he had the speed, and he showed that against the Eagles twice with 2 long touchdowns. But his route running, his ability to make contested catches. He pulled down a catch against the Jets that he had no business catching. The one-handed catch in the end zone against Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay.
So he's proven to be an all-around guy. And it's just crazy to see that early, a 3rd-round pick, is able to do that with the kind of inconsistency that we've had offensively. Because, we entering last week, we were the least scoring team in the NFL, and he's still got 800 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns. So it's just really how complete of a receiver he already is.
Another thing that's complete is this segment of the rundown, because we got to go pay some bills.
Redskins defensive lineman, number 93, Jonathan Allen, hates to lose. So he's teaming up with Papa John's and you to help donate to Sasha Bruce Youth Work, helping homeless children in our region every day. Team 93 needs you to make it a winning day for your family and these special children. You'll get a large 2-topping pizza and an order of wings for just $20, and Papa John's will donate 93 cents to Sasha Bruce Youth Work for every single order. Play to eat, play to give, but play to win, because nobody wants to lose.
The fantasy football season is here, and this season there are more ways to win than ever, because FanDuel has more ways to win cash prizes and once-in-a-lifetime experiences during every single game, every single week. Never played FanDuel fantasy football before? Great, because new users get a $5 bonus with their first deposit.
Score points this holiday season with holiday games from the Virginia Lottery. The holiday lineup is ready to deliver the kind of fun you expect from lottery games. For $1, you can play the Naughty or Nice Scratcher and have a chance to win up to $1,000. The $2 holiday cash game gives players a shot at winning up to $20,000. The $5,000 Overload features 300 $5,000 prizes in the entire game. The Holiday 7 Multiplier Scratcher is a clear way to have fun, and the $600 Holiday Bonus Cash is loaded with over 6,500 $600 prizes in the entire game. Plus, there's Virginia's New Year's Millionaire Raffle, too. And don't forget that you can play holiday-themed e-games on your mobile device with Mobile Pay. All you need is the Virginia Lottery app and to be at a lottery retailer. Give the gift of Virginia Lottery holiday games.
We are back. The Rundown, episode 10. Kyle Stackpole, as ever. I'm Gabe Henderson, as ever also.
As ever. I've never been more myself than I am on this episode.
Hey, man. So, 2 games left. What do the Redskins have to do to come out on top of these last 2 games?
Yeah, I think the main thing is going to be just building on these recent performances. Mm-hmm. I mean, so the way that they lost against the Eagles was obviously tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they take the lead, and then the Eagles drive down the field and score a touchdown with less than 30 seconds left. But when you really think about it, what they showed offensively is really what you want to see, whether it's a win or a loss. So we talked about Terry McLaurin, 5 catches for 130 yards, Dwayne Haskins, career highs and yards per completion, didn't get sacked once. Mm-hmm. So I think the last 2 games is really, especially on offense, because there's so many young guys, yeah. 3 rookie receivers, rookie quarterback, just seeing them continue to mesh and continue to work well within Kevin O'Connell's offensive scheme. So I think that more than anything is going to be important, even more so than the wins and losses, looking at how they can progress these last 2 games. How about you?
I just want to, honestly, I just want to see Landon Collins get an interception.
You've been wanting that all year.
Every single pregame show, I say this is the game. And I think this New York Giants game, you gotta think this game does mean, even though he's already played the Giants once, this game still does mean a lot. Playing against this team still does mean a lot. There have been a lot of speculations that this might be Eli Manning's last road game. We don't know for sure, but if it is, him and Landon Collins they were really tight in New York, and it will be bittersweet from on the New York Giants side seeing Landon Collins get an interception. But at the same time, it's one of those things where Landon has had a phenomenal year. I think he's not he didn't get picked to the Pro Bowl. I feel like one of the reasons why he's a reserve is because he doesn't have that interception or that many PBUs. I feel like if he has 2 interceptions, 5 PBUs, he's a starter. Like that's how great he's been this year. Yep. He's dropped 2 interceptions, but he's been so valuable to this defense. And these last 2 games, I would like to see him get an interception, as well as see, this defensive line just dominate. Mm-hmm. Like there's been games where we saw them, make strides, but like actually, hey, dominate. Like the New York Giants offensive line, they're not the best offensive line, but at the same time, we know that. How can we dominate them, hold Saquon Barkley to, less than 50 yards and, just have a full, complete game.
Mm-hmm. And just staying on the defensive line, because there is one player I wanted to highlight, and it's Ryan Anderson. So Ryan Kerrigan, they put him on injured reserve. He's out for the year, which means more playing time for Ryan Anderson, Montez Sweat. Yeah. And the past couple of games, Ryan Anderson has really come on. He had 3 forced fumbles against the Eagles, the last of which set the Redskins up for that go-ahead field goal before the final drive. So ever since he's been here, I mean, he was a second-round pick in 2017, and he actually volunteered to play fullback just so he can get on the field. Yeah. So he was doing that this year before the Redskins signed Michael Burton. But he's really just trying to get on the field any way he can, and he just seems like he's so hard on himself. But you can see that all that hard work is really starting to pay off, and he's becoming that guy that the Redskins thought they would see when they drafted him. So I think the last 2 games for him are going to be huge. Just build on the recent success he had, and then build some momentum going into next year.
You hit it right in the head, because all offseason we were saying, like, hey, we knew Montez Sweat was coming in and he was going to be really good. But, that's every rookie is a development process. So it's like, who's going to be that guy opposite of Ryan Kerrigan? It's like, hey, Ryan Anderson, like, he got hurt last year, and, he only played, 13, 14 games. But we were all excited to see him this 2019 season. He showed flashes beginning of the year, but these last few games, like, he's came on, and like you said, he's been that guy that's actually – that we can actually say, like, hey, this is the guy that we drafted. Yeah. He's showed a lot of, perseverance. I mean, just being able – I think just as me being a former athlete, when you have a younger guy come in and you're splitting time with him, it's tough, because it's just like, hey, like, I want to get in there, I want to play. So the fact that he's been such a phenomenal teammate as well as a competitor has really showed who he is as a person. And he's going down in the locker room. You see him talking to, all the young guys, Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan. But at the same time, he's pushing them so he can push himself to get better. And, like, it's good to just have locker room guys like that. And just having a guy like Ryan Anderson who next year he's tasted success in the NFL. Yep. So next year he already knows what it feels like, and he knows what he needs to work on to get to that point. But for you, What else do the Redskins need to do just to, end this season on a positive note?
Mm-hmm. Well, I just wanted to highlight a few more guys that are going to get more playing time because of injuries, and they're young guys too. So, yesterday the Redskins placed Brandon Sheriff, Trey Quinn, and Jimmy Moreland on injured reserve, which means more playing time for Wes Martin, the rookie guard out of Indiana. And I think he had a solid game going up against a strong defensive front in the Eagles, and he's a guy that these last 2 games are really going to help him, I think, going into the offseason, kind of just like Anderson. Yeah. Like, hey, you're the guy for these last 2 games, or I guess last 3 because he played last week. But let's see what you can do. Let's see how you hold up against division opponents because, these are defensive lines that – he's going to, if he stays here and he becomes a starter, he's going to be playing these defensive lines twice a year each.
Right.
So he's one guy to look forward to. Another guy would be Steve Sims, who stepped in for Trey Quinn. He had 11 targets against the Eagles. I think Terry had, I think it was 7. So he's a guy that Dwayne Haskins really looks for. He just has a knack for getting open. He scored his first career receiving touchdown. Yep. So he's another guy. You saw how electric he can be on kick return. He's returning punts now, but he's a legitimate guy who could work in the slot, which was kind of crazy to think about considering he was an undrafted rookie from Kansas. So those 2 guys in particular, I'm going to keep my eye on to see how they can progress.
One guy I got my eye on, and there will be a one-on-one with him later this afternoon on Redskins.com. Danny Johnson, 10 tackles, 9 solo tackles. He missed the first 14 games. For him to come off of injury, to have a phenomenal game like that, he had a PBU, also a pass breakup or pass deflection.
Yep,
had that was phenomenal. Like, not many people are talking about his effort. I tweeted out yesterday. His 9 solo tackles, 10 combined tackles are the most by a Redskins cornerback since 2016. Like that's saying a lot. Like he's proved to be a shutdown corner this past week, and he can come up and make the tackle. So I think these last 2 games, he's going to be able to showcase his talents because you always say, all right, that's just the first game. So I feel like these next 2 games will actually show like, all right, well, he can actually make some plays in the secondary.
Oh, for sure. And just the last thing about Danny Johnson, I actually talked to him after the game. I have a story coming out later today as well, so we're all in on Danny Johnson. He could have been cut.
Yeah.
He basically had 21 days. The Redskins had 21 days to figure out, okay, do we want to keep him? Do we want to activate him, or do we want to release him? And so not only did they activate him off the pup, but he ended up starting his first career game. He plays 70% of the snaps, and then he goes ahead and leads everyone in tackles. Yeah. So it's just a guy that you're really excited to see him back now, and he could be a legitimate guy going into next year, going into the future.
Yeah. Speaking of legit, this was a legit rundown episode, man.
I enjoyed it.
Episode 10. That's all we got today. For Kyle Stackpole, I'm Gabe Henderson. This is the Rundown.
Are uninvited pests ruining your plans? Let PMSI, the pest control partner of the Washington Redskins, handle it for you. Call today for your free inspection, and they'll work around your schedule to provide you the best solution possible to defend your home territory against pests of all kinds, including mold. Visit mypmsi.com for the game plan to control the pests on your home turf. That's mypmsi.com.
At Coke, our 67,000 U.S. employees make things that make your game days better, like fertilizer for greener turf and stronger paper products for tailgating. Viewing the game from your couch? Coke also makes the electronic components in TVs and smart devices so you can watch your Redskins victory anywhere. Coke, we make that. See it all at KOCHmakesthat.com. That's CokeMakesThat.com.
And now, time for another Honda highlight. The air was cold, but the deals were heating up at the Happy Honda Days sales event. With the entire versatile roster on clearance, all signs pointed to victory. Turbocharged tandems like the Accord and Civic, or all-wheel drive SUVs like the CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, and Passport. With clearance pricing, everyone's a champion.
Have your own Honda highlight with a clearance deal during the Happy Honda Days sales event. Now at your local Honda dealer.
Redskins fans, this is Darryl Green. After 20 years of being privileged to don the burgundy and gold on the football field, I've added another team's colors to my collection. For the past 16 years, I've proudly adopted the green and blue of Main Street Bank. Whether I'm using their simple-to-use mobile banking or dealing with their incredibly helpful staff, Main Street Bank always makes things easy for me and all of their customers. To find out all the ways they can help you, visit us at mstreetbank.com, member FDIC.